our daily meditation for today, the 1st of July. I'm sure we've all asked rhetorical questions, or questions that appear to have answers so obvious that the very asking of the question seems superfluous to our hearers. Well, in our text today, we see something of that sort, a question asked by God to which there appears to be a stunningly obvious answer. Our text for today comes from one of the most famous passages in the Old Testament, that being the 37th chapter of Ezekiel, the Valley of Dry Bones. Today, we're looking at verse 3, which says, "And he said to me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord God, you know." This vision, Ezekiel's third in the book, stands in the context of God's promised gift of a new heart and spirit for his people, something which we know is only ultimately fulfilled in the new covenant established through the sacrifice of his unique and eternal Son Jesus on the cross. That context begged the question of how this promise was to be accomplished. And the vision given to Ezekiel of the valley and God's sovereign, recreative power answers this emphatically. It will be accomplished by the sovereign act of the God who speaks life into the dead. In the following verses, the landscape, which is filled with bleached bones to which Ezekiel is commanded to prophesy, is transformed as the bones are restored to life. Our verse deals with Ezekiel's view of this valley prior to God's symbolic regenerative act. He's asked an impossible question. Can these bones live? The previous verse gives a picture of total lifelessness of the bones in question. They were dry, bleached, desiccated. These bones had no life in them. They had no ability in themselves to spring to life. No question, it was impossible. Yet Ezekiel's answer is telling. He doesn't go for the obvious answer. He refuses to concede that this is hopeless, gives the somewhat cryptic answer, O Lord God, you know. Many of us would have surveyed the same scene and given a cursory no, but Ezekiel's response is different. He leaves the outcome to God's power and sovereignty because he knows that nothing is beyond Yahweh. Ezekiel's secret is that he knows God. God has spoken his word to Ezekiel repeatedly and shown him his power and glory. He knows better than to rule anything out where this God is concerned. There may be many areas in our lives that appear in our opinions to be beyond hope, where we may have resigned ourselves to an unchanging situation. Yet we must remember that we too know the same God as Ezekiel did. He has the same sovereign power today as he had then, and can, in a moment, transform a situation. To Ezekiel, the situation of a revived and restored people of God was well nigh impossible, as they were exiled and scattered abroad. Yet God does what he says he will do. He fulfills this visionary picture. How much easier is it for God to work in our situations? They may seem impossible to us, but nothing is impossible with God. God bless.